Every day they come, sometimes just a couple of hundred, usually twice that number. Because across the border in Sudan, life is unbearable. War is leading to famine. This family just arrived. Fatia tells us that the Friday before Ramadan, their house and everything around was burnt by armed men.
Yes.
Britain's Minister for Development and Africa is here to see for himself what threatens to become the worst humanitarian crisis in the world.
Well, did she leave because there were soldiers in her village, or did she leave because they haven't got anything to eat?
السبب الخلاكي تطلعي إنه وجود العساكر اللي موجودين في المنطقة، ولا أنت عشان ما في حاجة هناك ممكن تأكلوها أو الحاجات ما متوفرة؟
ما في حاجة ناكلها.
Because there is nothing to eat.
Nothing to eat?
Yeah.
All those who arrive are registered. 80% of women and children, most from the Masalit tribe. The men have been killed or are in hiding because the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, one of the parties to this war, are targeting them. It's ethnic cleansing to force them to flee to Chad. Some of the people we've met today are fleeing the war, atrocities, their houses being burnt down. But most say they're coming here because they're hungry. There's no food in Sudan, and that is caused by the war. They can't plant, the markets don't work, there's no food coming in. It's increasingly difficult for the aid agencies to get food across the border, and the armed groups are stealing it. At the World Food Programme distribution point in Adre camp, families receive oil, millet, beans, soap and other necessities for a life barely above the minimum for survival.
Well, we are announcing today effectively a doubling of the programme for Sudan. We put a lot of money into something like 15 million into helping in a number of different ways here, particularly with malnutrition inside Chad. And the extra money we're putting on the table for Sudan will make a big difference.
This level of desperation is hard to witness.
This is a place of great hope here for these people, but it is also a reflection of extraordinary suffering.
And without a ceasefire, the impact of aid will be limited. Iran has reportedly given drones to the Sudan armed forces, and a recent UN report says the United Arab Emirates is flying arms to the RSF from here in Chad, which both governments deny.
I raised this directly with the president of Chad yesterday, and we urge everyone not to supply these two armies, which are doing such terrible damage to human rights and to the lives of the millions of people who are desperate now in Sudan.
You say we urge, but the United Arab Emirates is one of the major armors of one of the factions, and the United Arab Emirates is one of Britain's closest allies.
Well, we have a multiple-faced relationship with the UAE. I can tell you that we certainly make it very clear to them. The Foreign Secretary, I believe, has raised this directly with the most senior people in UAE, that they must not allow arms to get into this conflict, because if they do, it will damage them as well as everyone else. So it's a message which Britain is putting very forcefully.
The main victims are children. At the Médecins Sans Frontières hospital, they treat the most malnourished. 1-year-old Nassan should weigh 8 kilograms, but he's barely above 6. In Sudan, half the population, 25 million people, are facing famine now. Expect more scenes like this, and far worse, if there's no increase in humanitarian aid, and even more importantly, no ceasefire.